Let's get to the basic issue in this article, and that is, what is marriage to begin with?
That's exactly the question, Hank. Often I'll tell people, look, let's set aside the question of homosexuality or, why some people are attracted to others of the same sex. Let's set aside, what you should do about that. We don't even have to talk about, whether homosexuality is a sin. The question we want to get at first is, what is marriage? And if you ask that question, you're really talking about what is the reality that's out there in the world? Is there something called marriage out there that, this institution that we need to have a name for? If you ask it that way, then we say, okay, well, let's look at cultures across time, across, different religious beliefs, and see if we have an institution like this. And in fact, you do. Culturally, if you sort of study history, study different religions, there's a huge amount of diversity. But there's one thing that exists in every time and place and in every culture and every religion, and that's a public institution in which a man and a woman come together and covenant faithfulness to each other, normally for life. And that sort of covenant pledge that's made publicly between a man and a woman has a special connection to the bearing and the raising of children. And that's astonishing to think that with all the variation there is across history and across different cultures, there's that same basic institution. And that's what we use the English word marriage to refer to. It's just this reality that exists prior to our religious beliefs. It exists prior, certainly, to our economic and our political structures. It existed prior to the American experiment. And so the question is, if that's what marriage is, if marriage just is this public covenanting pledge of a man and a woman together for life with a special connection to the raising of children, that's what it is. And so to say, well, I think that two men ought to be able to marry, well, whatever you sort of think about homosexuality, that just doesn't make sense because you're using the word marriage to refer to something that's fundamentally different to this institution that we've referred to before. And that's what's crucial, is say, is there what I call a pre-political reality, a pre-political institution that we need a word to refer to in society? And the answer is yes, definitely, and the word we happen to use for that is marriage.